See, I told y'all Shamea wasn't afraid to have no conversation with Porsha. Okay, and she was getting it at first. I mean, little shorty was going in. I was gonna give her a DJ shout out too, but then after a while, I was like, nope, nope, and no, because then she lost it. Then she started messing up the thing. I was like, you done f***ed up, right? Like, girl, what happened? Like, you were on a roll, and then somehow we ended up back to square one. What? And then also, y'all, tell me why, like, who teaches production to be so shady? Because the way that they panned on the opening of Ralph's basement, not once but twice this episode unnecessarily. I mean, I understand the mother was kind of talking about the basement situation, but production did not need to do that. Y'all know we're going to get into the things though, okay? So in the meantime, in between time, what is going on, y'all? It's your girl Taina B here. Welcome to my chat party. If you're, or I should say, I'm so glad that you're maybe joining me for a little bit, a lot of bit, fashionably early, fashionably late to hear my little thoughts, my little views, my little opinions on the Real Housewives of Atlanta ATL Shawty season 16, episode number 11. By the way, I love the number 11. I see a lot of synchronized numbers sometimes. I don't know if y'all with me on seeing those too, but either way, or for those of you who always hit my dance floor, y'all know who you are, and I appreciate you so much from the bottom of my heart. For those of you who was like, listen, I'm not trying to do no dance floor right now, but I'll be hitting the like button or whatever. I'll be in my chair, eventually I'm gonna get up and two step, but not right now. Thank you so much for that. And for those of you who's like, I ain't doing all of that, I ain't doing none of that. I'm just peeking into the party to see what the heck is going on with the viewership. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And can I say also that I noticed that the guest list was guest listing this week, and a couple of folks, or at least some folks, somebody done joined the party. And I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm gonna find out, y'all. Because like I said, sometimes I'll catch it in the moment and it's like at the most inopportune time and I'm nowhere near to recording again. And I might be out and I can't write it down. But I still want to acknowledge those that I am able to catch somehow. So I've got to do better with that. So please charge that to my mind and me being a little older and all over the place and not to my heart, because it is much appreciated. I promise you I'm going to figure out how to get to all these subscribers. And I think I saw it, how to get to that, and then I lost it that fast. I'm not a super tech savvy person, but I'll definitely figure it out. And also, y'all will have to mind this head of mine, because I'm going to tell y'all, I had me a little piece and it was looking a little cute earlier, but shoot, that thing hurt so bad. Okay, I couldn't wait to get home to get it out my hair, and here I am, whatever you want to call me, okay? Looking crazy, whatever. The point is, I'm here to chop it up with y'all because I miss you guys and we got to get into the things of Atlanta, okay? That's what matters the most. So let's go ahead and do it. We start off the episode with Angela and Charles out with, what looks like a early dinner date of some sort. And immediately, less than 2 minutes after sitting down, Charles is acting like a grumpy old pop that he is. And Angela asked what he thinks. And I'm sure she was just pretty much alluding to the ambiance of the place. And I think she might even have said it, shortly thereafter. And he's just like, I'll see when the food comes out. And I'm just like, he's irritated already. That's like, sir, why? You just got there. You're out with your beautiful wife. It looks like the weather is good. You're outside catching a breeze, about to have some good food and some drinks. Like, what is the problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? And it's like, I think that what this whole moral of their segment was about is like, Charles, forget the producer even asking if you love Angela. Let's start with the basics. Let's just start off with if you even like her first. Okay. Let's start with that question. Because you continuously act like she's a thorn in your side every time we see y'all in a scene. Okay. Tell me I'm lying, y'all. Tell me it's not just me. And Angela, it's like, what exactly is it that you see in him? Okay, and I'm being for real. Like, let us know. And I don't want folks to make this easy and say, oh, it's the money. You know what I'm saying? She with him for the money. I don't want to hear no mess like that. Okay, because that's the easy answer, the easy way out. Okay. And also, I want to know the core qualities. Okay. And not that you love him because he's a family man. That's too easy too. What specifically, when it comes to him, is it that you adore? I just need to know. That keeps you holding on after all this time. I just need to know. Like, and you know what I'm saying? Like, don't tell me to know him is to love him. I think that's just not going to work either. So, anyways, she even asked him for a kiss, and he's like, "Why you need a kiss?" I say, "You know what? Just throw him away, please." So she mentions to Charles she thinks she needs to talk to her sister about that situation that involved her daughter and the fact that she, just feels like she doesn't appreciate what Angela does for her. And we know Charles ain't impressed because he don't fool with her mother or her sister like that, as we know too tough. She also says she wants to make peace with her mother. And again, Charles is sitting there unfazed, looking like he'd rather be 50,000 trillion million other places. And so, whatever, just not offering any type of encouragement. Okay. I said again, what is the use? What is the point? I'm open to knowing what makes Charles great. I just haven't figured it out yet. That's all I'm trying to say. Maybe y'all can hit the dance floor and let me know something you seen that I missed or something. Anyway, so now we're with Shamea and Cynthia. Now we're with Shamea and Cynthia. Oh, wow, that's a name combination. You know, they know those names merging the names together. I said Cynthia. Wow. Meeting for drinks. And sidebar, I will say that I've heard in the streets a time or two since I did my last video that folks feel like Shamea's a label whore. And now, while I think she looks nice most often than not, regardless, and even though I wouldn't be the one to walk around advertising every ounce of a designer from head to toe, what we've got to remember is that we're watching a show where they've got to show where the money resides because that's what people want to see. They want to know you have a cute coin. We want to know you have a cute coin and that you're flexing it. So, to that, I say she's getting the job done. Y'all got to at least admit that, okay? The money is there. Whether you care to see all the labels or not, the coin is very much so cute, okay? And I still thought even in this scene she looked cute. For her, she was probably giving us what she would consider basic, but I thought she looked adorable. And she tells Cynthia that she's been feeling sad and even blindsided over the Porsha situation, and Porsha bringing the girls into the affairs of their friendship, that she had to even reach out to her mom for some prayer. And shout out to those of you who got prayer warriors in your fam, all right? Or you might even be a prayer warrior yourself, because like they say, if you know, you know, all right? Matter of fact, can I take it old school for a second? Y'all, I ain't going to sing, but I will recite. Y'all remember that old school song that used to go, somebody prayed for me, had me on their mind, took the time to pray for me. I'm so glad they prayed. I'm so glad they prayed. I'm so glad they prayed for me. Okay, prayer works. But anyways, y'all, this ain't about church. This is about ATL. So let's keep it moving. So she starts to tear up and she's recapping with Cynthia how everything went down as it relates to how the breakdown of their friendship got back to Porsha, and how the girls feel like Porsha's not a good friend to her and Shami has been the better friend. And so she also brings up, Miss Diane making the little snide remarks, as it relates to her. And what else? Also the fact that her mom and Miss Diane used to be close with one another. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, because she did say that came to an end their friendship. But when they showed that throwback picture of Shamea's mom and Miss Diane standing there giving, I said, okay, well, excuse the hell out of me. All right. I said they look like two hot tamales. Y'all got to admit that they definitely look good. And so Shamea goes on to tell Cynthia that Porsha brings her so much joy. I was like, what? I'm sorry, maybe I heard that incorrectly. She brings you what? Okay, and let me not front completely, right? Because we still want to get into what people like to say, oh, Portia's a fun girl. And maybe that's where the joy is, I guess. And, I won't say that Portia probably has never been there for Shamea, but I'm like, does she really, though, still at the end of the day? Because anytime you have to continuously walk on eggshells and you're not being fulfilled, how does that give so much joy? It also didn't seem to give that at the end, but we'll get into that. Okay. And furthermore, while she's bringing you joy, I personally feel like you're just bringing her convenience. But again, I'll get into that a bit as well. And so, shout out to Shamea's sister and that little mini montage saying that a friendship should not be so hard and that they've been able to tell for a minute now that it's been going sideways. Listen up to your sister, Shamea, okay? Sounds like they know what they're talking about and they're making a whole lot of sense. And I'm gonna tell y'all this next scene with Angela, Cynthia, and Porsha was a hard fast forward because I don't care nothing about what Porsha has going on with Simon. That's too bad that Pilar misses him. but I have no feelings to give. I really don't. And I will say though, again for the record, since they wanted to age shame Angela so much in the beginning, she sure has been able to rock with them now. She's been holding it down with them looks and what she's giving because she looked too cute in this scene. And y'all know she did. She looked better than Portia, in my opinion, and was giving us youth. Also, Portia jiggling that big old fake behind around. I was like, yuck. It looks stank. Okay, it looks stank. And I guess I more so mean figuratively stink because I'm sure she takes care of herself. You know, I mean, that's how she gets the bag too, allegedly. I mean, that's just the street saying. I mean, I just go with what I hear or whatever. But I still was like, yeah, no thanks. All that jingling. I don't know, y'all. Something just when people do that, I'm just like, relax. Like, ew, we don't, oh, like, just calm down. And sidebar, I know Angela was acting all concerned and whatnot while Portia was talking, but I was like, I'm just curious as to if, like, I'm just curious to know what Angela was thinking of them. I'm like, did she really care? Because it seemed like to me she was partially putting on, like, oh, mhm, mhm. And sometimes that could be easy to do to put on in front. You know what I'm saying? Well, you don't give a hot darn when it comes to people like Portia. So I was just like, do you really want to hear this right now? But anywho, Portia wants to know why at the end of her event, which was supposed to bring peace, that narrative turned into her being a horrible friend. Shami is loyal to her to a fault, and she's this person who's putting Shamea in the shadows. And I was like, maybe because that is the truth. Can we say truth for 1,000, Alex? And you actually just hit all the nails on the head. Like, Angela asked her how that made her feel, and she said she tries to be the best Portia she can be. And that's fine because you are who and what you are, right? But Shamia needs to understand that's not working for her. And she needs to pass on you at this point. And as my motto is, y'all, because I just feel like you shouldn't try to change anyone. And I let people know that all the time, or at least I have in the past. I should say, I'm not here to change anybody, but just understand that you don't work for me. Do you all the day long, loud and proud. That's fine. But just, that can't work this way, And I feel like Portia's giving at the level that she can give, but she's not meeting Shamia where Shamia needs her to meet her. So how is this working? How is this a good situation? And Portia also says maybe she's not been the best friend right now because of what she's going through. And I'm like, well, newsflash, Portia. The actual tea is that even long before now, you going through what you're going through, you had multiple opportunities to get it right and you didn't. Okay. You have multiple opportunities to be a good friend. So let's not suffocate the situation to this one isolated event in your life. Shamia's sister said it a bit ago, and you'll see it when you watch this. You have been a sour friend for the longest time, not just when you just started going through. Okay. She also says she didn't have the capacity to lose her friend right now, but that sounded very selfish to me. And again, I'll reserve those thoughts for a few more minutes when we get into her and Shamia's conversation. So now we pan over to Drew, who's leaving her attorney's office, and she definitely looks stressed, off the rip, defeated, like nobody's business. And she calls her mom to update her on that worm. Shout out to Bonita Barbie. And I'm sorry, honey, if I'm missing. I think you might have had a number in your name. I'm not sure. It just came off the top of my dome. Who hit my dance floor last video. Hey, girl. Okay. She tells her mom how Applehead is trying to get her attorney recused, or pretty much to get her attorney to withdraw from the case. And he still hasn't turned over his financials. He's trying to come for both of Drew's businesses. Wants 40%. I said, this man is like, when I tell you, a piece of work to the utmost in all capital letters. And it was so disheartening when she said she doesn't know why he wants to drain her dry when she's the one supporting the kids 100%. 100%. So that means this man don't buy a fruit snack, a box of pancake mix, pair of socks, t-shirts, clothing, because 100% means that that leaves room on the other side to give zero. And that is so he don't take them out to get a McDonald's, slice the pizza. And I really hope that that's a bit exaggerated. But knowing Ralph and how he moves, I'm definitely with Drew, and I could believe what she has to say, and I can see it. And I see that Ralph just pretty much refuses to stop Ralphing, okay, in these streets. And if he does so well for himself, according to Drew, then why won't that man use some of that money and get him a 1 bedroom? Okay. And even if he don't want to do a 1 bedroom apartment, don't they still like rent out rooms or something? I mean, make that make sense instead of being in that doggone basement. And why am I asking a question I already know the answer to, right? Because again, it's Ralph. He wants to continue to antagonize her and bring her misery as much as he possibly can. But better yet, how is he not using some of that money to take care of his kids? Like, I think I would give that more than anything if he's like, I'm in the basement because I'm just saving this money, because I'd rather use that for the kids than to throw it away on rent or something. But he's not even giving that much. And I just think that's gross. And I know y'all have got to be with me on that too. And then he had the audacity to take access away from her on the security system. And he had to be the one to let her in, do some finagling and going through the basement and coming up top and raising and all this other stuff. Like, just a mess. Okay. She was locked out of the house because of him. I'm like, yo, what a creep. Can we just not even hear about Ralph anymore? I think I've definitely heard about him to my max. He's been around for more than enough seasons and he just keeps getting worse and worse. And I'm like, again, he's on our screen because why? A mess. Anyway, so Angela's mom comes over to her house and they chop it up a bit. She no longer has the responsibility of taking care of her mom and her sister, I believe, because the mom said something about the fact, I think that maybe she bought herself a new house or a different home, wherein the home she was in, Angela had purchased for her. I think we got a little backstory on how Angela just kind of wanted to always be able to do that for her mom. So she felt honored to be able to do that, which I love. I think that's every child's dream that has a great relationship with someone who is their mom or like a mother to them or that is just dear to them. You want to be able, when you're in a position, to do something really nice and something special and big and major like that. So I don't think Angela should feel bad that her mother has turned back over the keys because her mission was still accomplished. She still did the very thing that she set out to do, which was this major thing for her mom. And that's something that can't be taken away. And I'm sure her mother will forever appreciate that. And so the mom, again, just doesn't want to be an added responsibility for Angela, which I can understand. They end up bringing up Charles and their beef, and they end up making light of it. And mom says she's going to write him a letter so they can move past things. She ends up shading him about his age. I think she was like, because, my son in love. I mean, ain't he like close to my age? I said, Mom, I think he might be way past your age with the way he's looking. If you put y'all together and have y'all stand next to each other, especially because in this moment, Mom, you looking cute too and you done up. I don't know. Yeah, Charles. Yeah, Charles might look like he might have you by maybe a good 10. Okay. I mean, I could be wrong. But, anyways, so now we have Kelly and her daughter Chloe who are driving, and Chloe's behind the wheel. Yikes. Okay. And that Cadillac truck, A, was too big, and B, too nice for Chloe to be practicing in, especially with those skills not even almost being there. But I definitely felt Kelly's pain a little bit because my son, he has his permit and we've been out driving a lot and on the road. And I've definitely had a Kelly moment where I was like, oh my God, like, stop. Okay. Or I've also had to be like, move over. No, 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 move over, move over. Like, so I totally get it. But what I tell you, my son is nowhere near as bad as Chloe's daughter. And as a matter of fact, at this point, with the excess amount of driving that we've done, my son's actually doing pretty well at this point. But I totally get her pain. I never thought I'd be the one in the passenger seat as my son is driving, even though my husband and I, we share the responsibility. And he really is the one who taught him off driving first. But it definitely is a scary thing. I don't know if y'all parents are out there doing the same thing or if eventually you'll have to do it one day, but get ready. And I don't even know if you can. Okay. The way I'll be stepping down on the floor like I'm the driver's ed teacher, like I really got a break over there when I don't. Sometimes it just be my nerves, y'all. It be my nerves. But anyways, so now we have Drew, who's at her house. She's on the couch with her mom, who's flown out to support her through all the mess that she's going through. And I said, what a beautiful thing. I love moms like that. And sidebar too, I don't know, it was something about the colors that was doing it for me with Drew's mom, that purple and that pink, and then the gray of her beautiful locks and her little purple lipstick with the nails. I just thought she looked adorable, y'all. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little extra. So they get into all the things divorce related, and they talk about, or I should say, but talk about it, mom, because actually, in this point, she says she's conflicted with the fact that Ralph's trying to put the mother of his kids in a financial position to fail. And I agree. He lacks the ability to even think of the bigger picture, which are his kids and how his actions would affect them ultimately. But here we go. Here we go. The part I was talking about y'all earlier, where as the mom is talking, production is panning to the opening of the basement. And then the mom talks, and then we see the basement again. I'm like, cut it out with the cameras. Just, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking, I'm like, why are we seeing the opening of that basement though? Like, is he about to come walking up the steps? Or are we about to have a moment? Like, why are they doing that? Either way, or mom says she thinks it was a silly decision for the courts to put him in the basement, and that's a big fact. She said that's not helping the kids' mental state at all because she noticed that now at this point they're out of control. She said she spent her day just yelling at them, they wouldn't listen, and that causes Drew to just turned to tears because she said she didn't even realize that her kids are not the same because her mom was like, yeah, they're not. Like, this is really affecting them. And you could tell her mother wasn't trying to upset her in saying that. But she's just more so, if anything, troubled that her daughter's having to go through what she has to go through, you know? But they end up ending things on a lighter note, which I can appreciate too, and just having a little jokey joke and letting that be that, even in the midst of this very tumultuous and horrendous situation that she has to go through with this man. But now we get to the moment of the hour. Okay. And that is Porsha and Shamea meeting to have their powwow one on one. And I love Shamea's outfit, especially those pants. I thought she wore that very well. They look really good. And so Shamea starts off once they sit down by saying her piece and apologizing for not being as open about her feelings over the years. Save yours, I said, because immediately I'm like, girl, no, apology not necessary. Save yours and let Porsha do some apologizing, okay? Because it's pretty overdue by now. But her statement, which ties with the point I made in my last video, is that she moves the way she does with Porsha because, as she stated, she tries to handle their friendship with care. And that's the vibe I've gotten. Like, again, not afraid, but just cautious not to lose the friendship, you know? So Shamea's given her examples of the things that, Porsha has done that hurt her feelings or made her to feel dismissive. And even at certain points, if looks could talk, Porsha's looks would be saying, I don't give a F. Okay? She's sitting there, she looking like, oh, girl, like, really? We doing this right now? Like, I don't even care about what you're saying. I'm just mad you doing this right now. She looks so disinterested and indifferent. She starts sighing, and Shimmy is like, am I boring you? I mean, am I just boring you? And it's not funny. It's very sad, actually. Um, and she says, why is it uncomfortable for me to express myself? And so they start having some back and forth tension. Shamea was putting those points down. Okay. She really was just back to back to back to back, just on it. Like, just spitting them out. And Porsha just kept saying, as a way to try to back out of facing the music, I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want, I'm like, girl, that's all you got. Clearly she's on to something, right? And I said, well, girl, you don't want to argue. Well, then don't argue then. Okay, well, then don't. But open your ears and genuinely listen to what your friend has to say. Act like you give a damn and actually do. And then find out what your friend needs from you to make things right and start working on it. Like I said earlier, my reserved thoughts were that I felt like Porsha was playing a victim and making this moment all about herself, like Shamea was ganging up on her. I didn't feel like it gave true concern, but rather, child, let me grab a warm bottle and stick it in your mouth. And not even, right? Because a warm bottle soothes and it comforts. So this more so was like, let me stick a pacifier in your mouth just to temporarily fix you and get you to hush. Okay. And I think she said it in a roundabout way earlier too, when she said, and I think this is when she was talking to Angela and Cynthia when they went bowling, that she's pretty much not in the best space right now. And so that's the thing too. Even more of a reason why you're thinking about yourself. If you're not in the best space right now, you're thinking about you and your feelings only. No one else's. Maybe Pilar's at best, so you don't have the wherewithal. You don't have room. And when Shamea disclosed that she asked Porsha, why can't they be like they are off camera, on camera? And Shamea said that Porsha replied they would have to pay her more. I mean, I said, okay, come on, Shamea now. Come on, girl. Now at this point, okay, we can't keep nursing this mess that you have yourself still in. All right. It's the fact also that Portia even switches up when the cameras are around, like you said, and consistency is key in everything, especially and particularly and including a friendship. So her even switching on you should have been a no-go, right? Portia also said they weren't even talking like that since they started filming, and the communication was already strange. And I'm like, strained, but why? Why was it strained? But why? Again, does this go back to the fact that you felt some type of way that she was doing her thing in front of those cameras? Or that you might have low key felt like you got some regrets bringing her onto the show because it's doing more than what you anticipated it to do? Like you thought it was going to be the same old two step. And sis been over here rat tat tatting and dancing and everything else, grooving on that. Okay, she has really been showing up and showing out. And it's like, again, as I mentioned before too, everybody is good with everything until you're doing better than them. And especially when she's at this not so great point in her life, it's just she's not feeling the vibes of that, in my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but just how I feel, right? And Portia feels like Shamea is putting on for the show, and getting up and walking away when she did that, in my opinion, was a bit dramatic for me because it was just so unnecessary. And I feel like a way to kind of break Shamea's flow. Like, you know how in an NBA game, right, you have one team that will be working the piss out of that other team, right? Dunking in their face and everything, every just the spin moves, the ankle crossovers, the alley oops, the all whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just going in, going hard in the paint to where the coach has to call a timeout to break the groove of the other team getting demolished. It was the same thing. Like Portia had to do something to chop that up because it was just she didn't know how to bounce back from that and how to respond. And can I say sidebar too? Y'all know because I told you I'm a foodie. They played with that food. Okay, that food was looking too good. They played with that food because the way I would have been licking my fingers in between my words in that chicken. Like, yeah, bro, what you don't understand is that's good. We've been going through this and I'm tired of, like, girl, what? Like, y'all are playing. Like, why is that food really untouched? I know Portia might have taken a little spoonful of collard greens. I don't know. I just take food too seriously to let it sit there like that and not get the attention that it deserves. And then talk about something, we going to bag this to go home. Now, technically, taking it for home could be a good thing too, because that's where you really could get it in, where you're not around people. But whatever. I still feel like they could have done better and done right by that food, and they sure enough didn't. But either way, or the most important part, I guess, was back to their conversation. They end up hugging it out. And I think they said they would agree. Maybe Portia made the suggestion to just kind of talk things out when there's an issue. However, ultimately, y'all, I feel like what Shamea said fell on deaf ears. Okay? She would have been better off taking the time to eat that delicious looking food, like I said, and using the time for that, because it's like, girl, what? Or maybe like they say too, sometimes it's not even about the other person receiving it. When you express how you feel, it's more of a release for yourself. So maybe she should have just taken it as that. I still go back to my thought that even if Portia does care about Shamea, it's not to the same degree, and that's not beneficial to Shamea. And that doesn't make Shamea feel good. And she knows that deep down inside. And she said that, in but so many words to us. But good luck to them. with that. And most importantly, another DJ shout out to my party newbie, a whole new gentry, right? Who said present day, they ain't even rocking with each other like that, y'all. So there's that. And hopefully in that, Shamea has found peace and is living her best life, having those love on her in the way that she deserves. Because for what she gives y'all, if that's who she truly is, then she's deserving of it all. And she should not shortchange herself for nobody, no one, nothing. I don't care how long, I don't care who it is. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, y'all, I thought it was a pretty decent episode. We know for certain next week Miss Phaedra will be back on the scene. Oh Lord, child. So let's get ready for that. But y'all have to let me know. Y'all gotta hit that dance floor, okay? Because the music is on, the dance floor is lit. Don't be no prude and hold up the wall. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you agree, like if you just, I don't know, just let me know your thoughts, y'all. What do you think about this whole Shamea and Porsha sit down? Do you feel like it was a waste of time? Like I felt like it was a waste of time, and clearly apparently it was a waste of time, and not necessarily, right? I don't think anything is a waste of time or in vain, and everything happens in the manner which it should, and Shamea still needed to get those things off her chest. So that was an important thing. But it's kind of like, even in that moment, I feel like I wish she would have left it right there. Like she would have just put it all on the table and just walked away and been done with it. Even if it wasn't a complete cutoff of a situation, she definitely should have set those boundaries in place. Like, yeah, it's just not the same anymore. It's not going to be the same. I need my space, and that's that. We don't have to have any beef or animosity when we see each other. But, I can't do this like how I used to do this. Like this ain't that no more, Do we need to talk about old egghead, applehead, Ralph, the worm? You know what I'm saying? And just how much of an absolute lame this man is for how he's moving, most importantly, as it relates to his children, allegedly. Okay. Y'all definitely definitely share your new thoughts. Can't wait. I know my boy Spencer, but I like to call him Spence for short. The original Party King is gonna make me laugh and say some old crazy things. I'm just looking forward to hearing from you guys like I always do. And I will say that I hope that this video found you in good spirits. And if it didn't, I hope that I said just a little bit of something to make you feel a little better. You might even be looking at how crazy I look tonight, okay? Whatever puts a smile on your face, I am all for it. Okay. I am sending you all social hugs. I got it right this time. And I'll be back next week to do it all over again. I'm still trying to figure out what other show I should dip into and try my best to squeeze in, y'all. Sometimes just getting in this week can be a bit much, but I think what fuels me again is just the excitement to be able to chop it up with y'all and just to get some feedback, until we're able to really, really communicate face to face in this social world. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, y'all, in the meantime, in between time, I will see y'all next week to do it all over again. Y'all know what to do until then. Y'all stay up, y'all stay blessed, and I'm out. Peace.